We mentioned substitutions playing a key part in this running, and up steps Nicolo Zaniolo for the key goal today, rescuing a point for Aston Villa. This is your instant match reaction to West Ham United 1, Aston Villa 1. Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with your instant match reaction to West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. And yeah, interesting game. Very eventful game. And we're going to go through, I'll sum up the main parts of it. I will try and jump on later tonight for a bit more of a full reaction. But hit that like button first, guys. Hit that subscribe button. We are 22 subscribers away, that close to 3,500 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you for all your support. But we don't want to stop there. So like, subscribe, get your comments in below, your thoughts on today's game. It was pretty much that old cliche, a game of two halves. Villa not good in the first half. As a whole, I thought first 10-15 minutes, I thought we got into some decent areas. Obviously, starting lineup was Martinez in goal, Konsa in at right back, Longley and Torres at centre back, and Moreno left back. Then Tielemans and Luiz as the holding players in the midfield. Morgan Rogers further forward with Duran, Watkins, and Bailey off to the right. And maybe it was to cope with the physicality of West Ham playing Duran. Maybe it was also in mind, set pieces against, having more presence in the box. Obviously, you've got Longley, you've got Torres, you've got Konsa, and you've got Duran as big players in the box. And for the first 10-15 minutes, it seemed to work quite well. Tielemans and Luiz were getting in some decent areas. Rogers was picking up the ball in some really good areas and driving with the ball forwards, similar to, say, what a Ramsey would do, and getting in some really good areas. But we weren't really connecting Durant and Watkins together. And understandable, really. It's not a normal position for them. But once West Ham kind of cottoned onto what we were doing, I think Watkins had a good effort into the near post. Bailey set him up for that shot. But other than that, we didn't really have anything else. And once West Ham had settled into it and seen what we were trying to do, that kind of slow, sluggish style from Villa in terms of trying to build up from the back and playing it across the back line wasn't working. And you could see with the two left-footed centre halves, Mikel Antonio was pressing really cleverly. Then Paqueta, then Kudus and Bowen were backing him up, and it was really putting us into a real corner. And yeah, we couldn't really get anything going. Then Luiz and Tielemans then weren't getting on the ball. We couldn't bypass those in midfield. And then Rogers was getting more and more isolated. He wasn't picking the ball up, and then whenever he was giving it away. And Bailey, we couldn't get him in the game at all. And then coincidentally, then Duran and Watkins, we couldn't get in the game. And as you could see, then West Ham were getting more and more momentum, picking up more and more areas in attack, and then particularly Soufal down that right hand side. And sometimes this is the issue when you're playing with a young player and a young inexperienced player in Rogers. What happens is the more experienced player will test them and put them under pressure. And we were under more and more pressure down that right hand side. And Moreno at times isn't the greatest in terms of that 1v1 defense, or if he's getting overloaded, it's understandable. And that was what was happening. And it was almost inevitable that when the goal happened, Mikel Antonio stooping header from a great ball in from Soufal, and he had played a couple of really good balls in before that, and we just hadn't paid attention. And I think in the end we were quite lucky to go into the halftime break only 1-0 down. There was more pressure from from West Ham, and yeah, we just couldn't get anything going, and it was increasingly frustrating. One or two efforts on the break in that first half towards the end, but the passing again. If those players are starved of the ball, the likes of Watkins, the likes of Duran, the likes of Bailey, then they're going to try more and more desperate things, and that's inevitably what happened. But half time comes and two changes are made. Duran goes off at half time and Longley goes off at half time. And Longley really struggled to get any sort of rhythm going with his passing. As I say, he was closed down really well, but it was much better then when Conser went in at that right side of centre back. Cash came in on that right hand side, and automatically you see a difference in Leon Bailey, and yeah, it was much more connection. And Musa Diaby again, in terms of playing off Ollie Watkins, you could see him taking some of that sharpness into his game that he got from Thursday night, and immediately, well, actually, that comfort for Villa was immediate, but we almost completely ruined it from another one of our set piece howlers. This time, Cross came in, and Mikel Antonio again bundles it in on the line, but it judged to have. I think it might have been a foul on Martinez, or maybe a handball. But the goal was ruled out from by VAR. But that would have been an absolute knife in the back for Villa, and yeah, would have ruined the whole halftime team talk from Emery, and everything would have been out the window, because we know what West Ham are like. Once they've got the lead, 1-2 goals, they sit back, they hold their shape, and then they look to play on the break. But what they didn't bank on this time was Villa kind of getting more and more of a wrestle hold onto the game, and you could see them really pushing. You could see Diaby and Bailey connecting. You could see Louise and Tielemans picking up the ball in good areas. You could see Torres looking much more comfortable with playing the ball through. And again, midway through that first half, and this is the key again, a couple of substitutions. Rogers comes off for Zaniolo, and Luca Dean comes on for Alex Moreno going off. And Luca Dean's just got that bit of quality as well, and bit of cleverness in terms of his movement. And Zaniolo was excellent again when he came on, putting himself about, finding areas, and looked to get to the pace of the game straight away. And you've got a double problem, because Cash can work down the right with Bailey, and Dean, you can put in excellent balls down that left hand side, and on around 74, 75 minutes, that's when the key moment happened. Diaby gets the ball on that in that right hand channel. Um, wonderful pass across. Zaniolo's coming in on the run and first time finish into the bottom corner. Wonderful goal. Great move, but it had been coming. Conser had an effort that the keeper saved, and he took a knock for it. I think Bailey had a couple of opportunities where he had wayward shooting. Cash had an opportunity where he could have shot when he chose to cross it. So that goal was definitely coming. And then it looked like there was only one team that was going to win it. Again, Villa were picking up the ball in really good areas. But I think, what credit to West Ham, they did kind of nullify the threat. A couple of their substitutions, Cresswell coming on, Ward-Prowse coming on, kind of nullified it a little bit. And again, it turned into a bit of a scrap. There were some bookings, Kudus and Louise getting booked, Zaniolo getting booked, is inevitable booking. But yeah, it kind of looked like it was petering out, but drama right at the end. Kudus picks up a free kick for Louise, fouling him, and I think it's 95th, 96th minute. Ball goes into the box, and it's bundled in by Thomas Soucek, and you're thinking absolute heartbreak for Villa after not really deserving. To be a defeat in the game, because they played so well in that second half, and it looks like defeat was going to be snatched. Sorry, the draw is going to be snatched away right at the death. But VAR again steps in and chalks it off for handball from Thomas Soucek, and it did. It When you look at it, it was quite clear. I mean, you could see the movement, but it was actually also a foul, I thought, on Ezri Konsa. He pulled him back by trying to get to the ball, which is understandable. You're hungry for the ball. But yeah, it was a definite handball, but it took 3 or 4, 5 minutes to make the decision, and Jared Gillett actually went across to the screen to have a look at it. And I actually thought Gillett had a really good game. I thought the game was played in the right way. I thought he refereed it in the right way. He let the game flow. He wasn't blowing up. He wasn't, it was only right at the end when he was making the key decisions that you kind of knew he was there. And I thought it was an excellent refereeing performance. So credit to him. But in general, I think the draw was the fair result. I thought West Ham were much better in that first half, but in the second half, you could see them hanging on, holding on, and we nullified their threat. Kudus and Bowen were nowhere near the threat that they were in the first half. And Bailey was excellent second half. Diaby was fantastic when he came on, picking the ball up in those areas on the half turn, running at the defence, sometimes knocking it short, sometimes going in behind. I thought Watkins was a little bit more dangerous in that second half as well. Zaniolo was excellent when he came on, and it really does show the importance of being able to make substitutions at key times in the game. And we know we've got a manager that isn't afraid to do it. Yes, he might acknowledge that he probably got it a little bit wrong in the first half, but he makes two substitutions at half time. He then makes another double substitution midway through the second half, and you could see the emotion when one of the substitutes scores from another one of the substitutes setting him up, and that is key. That is what's going to be key going into the last 10 games of the season, because we're going to be needing all of these players to contribute. And fantastic for Zaniolo to help us get that point, because that keeps the momentum going. Now takes us 3 points clear of Tottenham after their defeat yesterday. The last thing you want to do is lose the game after being given an opportunity like that. So we now go 3 points clear of them. Obviously, they've got that game in hand against Chelsea, but that's not an easy one to win. So all in all, I think satisfactory. It's not an easy place to go to the London Stadium, and to pick 4 points up from them this season is really good. And as I said yesterday on the match preview with Kev, these games, against West Ham, against Chelsea, against Wolves, these are the ones that we've got to pick points up. So we're going to international break in good, I think, in good feeling, in good spirits, ready for Wolves on the 30th. And let's really get the victory there. But yeah, guys, we'll try and jump on later tonight for the full match reaction with the lads. But that's it for me from now. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Man of the match. Who were your choice for man of the match? I thought maybe one of the substitutes, to be honest, would probably be worth a shout. Matty Cash as well. What a block that was at the end. Sorry, I forgot about that. What a block that was. Absolutely phenomenal block. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.